there seems to be a unconscious and sometimes conscious fear that black countries that speak like this, or black leaders that speak like this, even having with Ibrahim Traore, like people get really scared, bro. Like people get really scared of like black empowerment. Julius Malema. Going back to the economic hitman thing, right, Jesse? Do you think, right, that in South Africa, economic hitmen were used?
I've managed to create the world's first truly global empire, and it's basically a secret empire. We do it many ways, but principally, we identify a country that has resources our corporations covet, like oil, arrange a huge loan to that country from the World Bank or one of its sisters. The money never actually goes to the country, it goes to our own corporations to build big infrastructure projects in that country that help a few very wealthy people, but don't benefit the majority of the people who are too poor to buy electricity or have cars to drive on the highways, and yet they're left holding a huge debt that they can't repay. So we go back at some point and say, you know, you can't pay your debts. Give us a pound of flesh, sell your oil real cheap to our oil companies. Vote with us on the next critical UN vote. Allow us to build a military base in your backyard. We've created what I consider a mutant, viral form of capitalism. And this mutant form of capitalism, which I think is really a predatory form of capitalism, has created an extremely unstable, unsustainable, unjust, and very, very dangerous world.
When it comes to the diamond mines, the mining of the diamonds, the mining of the minerals,
I'd have to say, yeah.
What I can see is people have a lot to say about Julius Malema. They have a lot of negative things to say about Julius Malema. And I'm not saying that Julius Malema is right or wrong. I would say that Julius Malema is a product of the environment of apartheid. And apartheid was brutal, and apartheid was wrong, and apartheid was extreme. And I think that when you get to Julius Malema is a child of apartheid. He is a child of an extreme type of system. And so a lot of people say that he's extreme. And I say that he may be, but he's probably because he's a product of a very extreme thing that he went through. And a lot of people in South Africa are products of extremity. I think when it comes to South Africa, it is the most extreme version of racism in our time.
What's the difference between him saying, theoretically, hypothetically speaking, he would arm Russia? Yeah. So he would never need to, because like
because South Africa doesn't have weapons like that.
With him saying that, and that's no, that's crazy. And then countries like America, France, and UK
arming people,
physically doing
arming
it.
Yeah.
South Africa is in alliance with Russia now.
South Africa right now calls itself non-aligned.
In the context of the war, but these are two different things. South Africa is an ally of Russia. Now, the second question is, where does South Africa stand on the war? It says, I'm a non-aligned in relation to war, but Russia remains South Africa's friend. So we cannot create confusion around there. Don't create an impression that it is Malema who's going to come and create an alliance with Russia.
But there are some very specific...
Actually, I will go beyond that. I will go beyond the friendship with Russia, and in the war, I will align with Russia, and I will even supply the weapons to Russia. Because Russia is in a war with imperialism, and any agenda that seeks to push back imperialist agendas, it's well within the policies of the EFF.
The arming Ukraine and Voldemort, and that's okay. But he says that he hypothetically would arm Russia, and that's not okay.
But this is what I find a lot of the time when it comes to black countries, is that there seems to be a unconscious and sometimes conscious fear that black countries that speak like this, or black leaders that speak like this, even having with Ibrahim Traore, like people get really scared, bro. Like people get really scared of like black empowerment. And the thing is, I think a lot of people get scared of black empowerment because they think, a lot of the time people think that black people are going to do to them what they done to black people. And my thing is, I don't know black people to be sitting around planning, plotting and scheming to get their own back on white people. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of white people, from what I've come to observe, seem to be quite scared of black empowerment. And I'm like, there's nothing to be scared, because black people ain't got time to be colonizing and enslaving white people. It's just like, even when black people were in power, if you go back to the Nubians or the Egyptians, they just ain't got time to be enslaving people based off of their race. I just think that different groups of people are different. And I think that when it comes to black people, I think black people don't have time for it. I think black people, from what I know, want to get on and live a great life and do good and just chill. They don't really want to cause empire. They don't want to conquer and become part of an empire. So yeah, I just find it interesting. I found that that interview interesting. I found it interesting that the interviewer really tried to bring up Malema's past. I think that a black man with power really scares people, Jesse.